person. So I'm watching Disney princess movies all night, every night. I don't care. I'm 19, 20. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is my life. It's a lot. It's a lot.
For sure.
It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of things that are happening, and magical. I was so much freer, so much lighter. Definitely got on the wrong train. Went downtown instead of uptown. Lost my month train pass because I didn't have a backpack or anything. I just had it in my pocket, so I'm sitting on the train and get up and everything. And then I lost the key to the Airbnb.
Shout outs to Pass Ray for not giving. She's like, all right, hell no. Listen, I'm from San Bernardino.
We're not playing, okay?
We know how to, I'm going to make it happen.
We figured it out.
When you got that news, kind of like your father was kind of entering the kind of last phases, you know? Mm-hmm. Did you ever feel like you got to get the closure with him, or like to be able to kind of like, okay, let's move forward, or was it always kind of like the sense of just like, I'm just not ready yet type of thing?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Well, I'm gonna get deep then. I made a promise to myself during the time when I knew my dad was sick. We always kind of knew it was there. It was lingering there. And I remember like we were not on good terms whatsoever. Like we weren't even, there was like nothing. And I remember getting a call from him 3 months ahead of time before he passed away. And I got a call, and I told you my teeth were fucked up back in the day. And so I got braces like 4 different times. But I was so upset because I felt like he should have been able to at least been responsible to keep my teeth good, you know. And every time we would get the braces, it would be like, oh, you know, he doesn't have money now. So I would have them on, and then a year later there's nothing and we can't go there, or whatever the case may be. So I had that situation happen. So he calls me, and I cussed this nigga out. Like I cussed him out. I was like, you should be able to do this. Like, why can't you just do this? And that was our last conversation. And I just remember I had to make a decision within my heart during that time period that because reality is that he might not be here, you know? And so if that's the case, then I need to go ahead and accept the fact that I'm not ready to move forward. And I just had to have that conversation with myself so I can be accountable for anything that happens. Now, it did not prepare me as much as I thought it was going to prepare me when it happened. But I felt like it gave my spirit a little bit of ease of just being like, Ray, this is what you chose. You made this decision. He's not here anymore. So you're going to have to do the work now on being able to build that relationship when you feel ready, but you're going to have to do that. And you're not going to have him around to do it because you chose this part. And so, I don't know. I felt like at that time that was the safest thing for me at that time because I couldn't. And I don't like being fake about it. Or like kind of like rushing things that don't need to be rushed. Like that's how I felt.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And I had to move forward that way. So
no one's trying to like, hey, Ray.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you should.
Yes, absolutely. But I felt like there's certain things that like, I mean, at that time, I have a lot more empathy now, a lot more understanding now. But at that time, I didn't understand because I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about me and my safety and my accountability at the time that I had to be like accountable for the things that I had to be accountable for. And I was like, well, I don't feel like, you know, he was being accountable for his stuff at the time. But like, if anything, I was more of a problem. And it was something like anytime I opened up my mouth, it was a issue because I'm not being the good, you know, obedient person. Sure. I'm not respecting the lines of parentry. I'm not. And in I've always felt like this in my spirit, and I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but respect is respect. So I don't care where it's coming from. All I know is that if it's given, I will give. But if it's not given, then I don't know how to give that back unless it's forced. And I don't like being forced. So at that time, I didn't have any understanding. So it was like, oh, fuck it. Okay.
So now that you're past this, and you mentioned to me like you get to this kind of 21, that means your brother's around 19.
Yeah.
Um, as I imagine that you and him get a little bit.
No.
No.
We actually grew more apart then. I
Around
think
that
there was a couple of years of time where I didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what I was doing. And that was just life. Like, cause that was already what we grew up on. Cause we were already kind of like moving around like that, had our own friends and did whatever we needed to do. So, and then also too, being accountable, I also treated him the way that my mother was treating me with the bad parts of it. You know what I mean? So there was always some shit talking. It was always some, you need to get your shit together. It was always some, something like that. That wasn't, was just, it was me acting like what I see and just giving that to the next person. So, can't imagine how he felt with that. And then also, it's both ends weren't good, but I knew as a big sister, I wasn't giving him the right energy that he needed. So we just weren't cool at that time.
So you're literally going through life alone.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
no one say it like that. But,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like my feelings and like the things that I'm going through and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Like I have friends, I have people that are helping me through a lot of stuff, but I have so many layers to me and so many different kinds of feelings I could feel instantaneously that sometimes it doesn't feel like everybody could really understand. So
no, and that's what I find is wild, right?
Yeah.
You're like carrying this mountain of like, and whatever my perspective is different from yours.
Yeah.
But I think like you're literally like what it sounds like, what it feels like is a mountain of just I don't want to say pressure, but I don't think it's the right word.
Yeah.
I would just say like you have this this cloud. I think that's a better term.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you're running from going as fast as you have.
Running from
when you get tired, you're like, fucking, I'm gonna drink.
I'm about to be outside all night.
I'm not gonna carry you there. There.
Yeah. It was
no one to console, no one to like all of it. No, like not like a part of you or like some of it, but like no one to kind of just like let it go, like to be able to just really just, hey, like just get it off your chest and be able to just like really, and someone to actually do right by it,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do right by it, not like some pity party, but like really any like.
I've seen instances of it, but I didn't know how to receive it. So that was a thing already. And then I wasn't seeking it out in the right places either. Because I think a lot of that came from, okay, well, I should be able to find this romantically. Like that, I should be able to find one person that comes into my life and makes it all better.
Right.
And that's what I was searching for. The Disney story. Oh, of course. Oh, man, I was a Disney crazy person. So I'm watching Disney princess movies all night, every night. I don't care. I'm 19, 20. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is my life. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, well, if I love on a man and I give him like my heart and I give him truth and honesty and all the things, and he would give that back to me, and then we can go live happily ever after and be okay. And he's mine, I'm his, all that stuff. And slowly but surely, I had to realize like that wasn't it. Right. That's not how this works, because love comes in all forms, not just romantically. So, I was very much giving it in the wrong places, looking for it in the wrong places, because I was like, well, if I go here and I share this moment with him and we can go ahead and talk and I share like these personal feelings and all that stuff, like most of the time, I don't think they were really able to receive it and understand it. It was a lot. It's a lot.
For sure.
It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of things that are happening. And, so I had to. It
may change the perspective of you.
Yeah.
When you were in kind of that relationship.
Yeah.
When you're also, again, you have a lot of demons that you haven't really dealt with.
Yeah.
Were you able to deal with it then? Or was it more of just like, hey, look, I'm more focused on the relationship, not focused on like the past?
I couldn't deal with shit then.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. It was me trying my best, but the situation and the boundaries that I never set, it was open. It was open territory to not care about myself and not love myself and not see myself for who I was. I was definitely declining into a world of focusing on a person and giving that person, like, I'm so grateful because honestly, I've got to feel a kind of love that, at least romantically, that I feel like, you know, people search their whole lives for, you know, and it was really a really magical journey of like exploring that love. But that love, and not knowing boundaries and not knowing like what you really want and being so young, it's just, you're not gonna, it doesn't look as pretty as what you think it is. So, there's no castle and there's no, and
need a lot more.
There's only a dream of a castle. There's only the hope and the like potential of a castle, but there is no castle. And I had to learn that because that was hard. Because I was like
optimism versus kind of the reality.
Exactly. So, but learned so much, took in so much, but knew the time was done. Knew that it was time to go, and I had to figure it out. And when everything kind of came crashing down, I knew I had to go. I knew I have to go to New York.
How long were you there in New York?
I was there for 2 years.
That must have been very interesting experience.
That was a whole different life. New York Ray is different.
That's
different.
You went from San Bernardino. You skipped LA.
Yeah.
You skipped San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you go to the most.
Yep. I was out here.
You go to like, that's like starting at like level 1 and you're like fighting a level like 100 boss or something, you know? It's a whole different environment.
Whole different world. You
go for 4 days and now you're there for 2 years.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, like, that New York life dynamic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to dive into that, but
we definitely can.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know, like, before I left to New York, I had to grind. Like, I had to figure it out because I had to make a plan. I was like, I don't know anybody in New York, number one.
She's not out there anymore. You're on?
No, she didn't live out there. She was just visiting.
Got it.
And so I just went out there. Yeah. So there was no direct source of people that I had that were out there. All I knew was that I was going. So I made a plan. I was like, I'm going to get an Airbnb for a month.
Right.
So I have to save for that.
Right.
And then I am going to get I'm going to get a job within that first month. And I'm going to learn the train system. I'm going to make sure I have enough money to have a month's worth of riding the train and everything. So that was the plan. And then I got a job at this photography company in Orange County, which was really solid, man. That was such a lucked out opportunity because I learned so much there, but I also was getting paid a really good amount to be able to travel from San Bernardino to OC for 2.5 hour drive there. That's 3 hour, you know what I mean? And it was like during regular traffic hours. So 91 freeway, oh Lord. And so it was a whole journey, but going back and forth and learned diligence, learned showing up, learned how to save all the things. And so I ended up going to New York. I went to the airport and that was already, it was a whole spiritual shift in general. And I get to the airport and I'm,
anyone waiting for you there? You're departing with anyone saying, "See, love you, bye"?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the guy I was with. Yeah. So he ended up taking me. I mean, we weren't together at the time, but he took me to the airport, and that was already a thing because that was.
I understand.
My relationships were my people,
right?
Too. So that was like that was just like a whole thing that just had to happen that way. And so when I get there, it was crazy because I get to the gate and I was like, I got there like an hour, 2 hours early and I'm sitting there by the gate. I was like, I'm going to take a little nap. And I put my phone on alarm and everything and I wake up and it's like maybe like 30 minutes or I would say 20 minutes before the thing. And I'm looking around, I'm like, why is there nobody boarding and everything? And I look up and they ended up changing gates. And so I went to go find the other gate and then they closed it and I couldn't get on. So my flight wasn't until later. That was at like 6 o'clock in the morning. My flight wasn't, the next flight that was open wasn't until like 10 o'clock at night. So that in general, like to start it off, I was like, oh my God. Everyone's like, you can just come back. Like, I'm like, no, I have to go. I gotta get out of here. It was like that alone, I already knew, okay, we're getting blocked in all ways already, but it's okay. I cried at the airport. I had a drink. I was sitting there. I was just a hard life. I'm like, I gotta go. Can y'all just get me on a plane? Please. It was crazy, but I get out there and man, magical. I was so much freer, so much lighter, so much I had a glow. I remember having a specific, I remember feeling so sick throughout the time I was in San Bernardino like that last year, and just being so sick and so drained and crying every day and just going through so much stuff. And getting out there, I remember taking a picture and I was like, "Ooh, girl, you a whole different girl." Like, you just like that, like it made me solidify that like shift and change is real within the body as well as within your environment, you know? So it was really cool. But get out there, crazy, like my first day traveling out there, and like I went.
Wait, no, you got there the next day.
I got there like 4:00 in the morning next day. Yeah, which was kind of scary too. Like,
people are already moving.
And people are already moving. People are already out there.
It's wild, right?
I'm like, what am I doing? I had big ass suitcases. I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. I got to get to my Airbnb. I don't even know if they're up. I don't know what's going on. I was trying to figure. And I lived in Brooklyn, so the spot was in Brooklyn, and I love that area.
My pops is from Brooklyn.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, no, it was. I love Brooklyn. It was so dope, and it was like the area that I was in at that time wasn't like super gentrified yet, so it was like still real. It felt like San Bernardino again. Right. I felt like I was home. Like, I was like, oh, it's just a hood in a new hood. Like, it's like not it's all people are all real still, you know, and that was really cool. And I just remember, like, I had an interview and I got ready and I left the house. I got on the train. I'm learning the train. Definitely got on the wrong train. Went downtown instead of uptown, and I ended up on like Wall Street. And I just get off the train and I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I'm like, I'm freaking out. And then I realized, I checked my pockets. I lost my month train pass, because I didn't have a backpack or anything. I just had it in my pocket. So I'm sitting on the train and get up and everything. And then I lost the key to the Airbnb. And I only went out there with like $400.
Right.
Like, I literally, and then by the time I got landed, because I had to pay for like my bags and stuff, literally I had like 3 something. And then I bought $100 pass for the train. And I'm sitting there like, I just lost it. And I lost the key.
Yikes, dude.
I'm like, what is going on? It was crazy. I was like, yeah, it was wild. So I look around, I see TJ Maxx, and I was like, you know, that looks safe. I'm gonna go there. Love TJ Maxx, by the way. It's like definitely like one of my you catch me at TJ Maxx, I've had a hard day. Okay, so I'm saying, so I go in there and I end up just like walking around. It's November, so it's around Christmas time, right, all that stuff, and all I hear is you know, we're hiring today, you know, on the thing, and I was like, okay. Oh, mind you, I missed my interview too because I got lost. Right, so I don't know. I didn't know where I was at. So I'm like, I gotta find a job. This is crazy. I gotta figure this out. I get in there. They said that. I asked somebody. I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? I heard it over the thing, and they were like, no. And I was like, okay. And then I went to like somebody else. Like, something just told me just ask somebody else because they said it on the intercom. There's no way that they're not hiring if they didn't, you know, whatever. So ask somebody else. They're like, oh yeah, no, I can take you to the person. I ended up getting hired that day. Like, literally, like, they gave me an interview, they called my reference, and they called me the next morning, that night, and said, you know, we're going to have you start on this day, or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Thank the Lord. And I figured it all out in my pass. Luckily, I paid with a card, and they refunded me, and then I was able to get another card, and then I got another key that night. So worked out crazy, but that was my first day.
Shout outs to Pass Ray for not giving. She's like, all right, hell no. Listen, I'm from San Bernardino.
We're not playing.
We know how to. I'm gonna make it happen.
We figured it out. That was crazy. So that, you know,
that must have been a huge confidence boost.
Oh, hey, you couldn't tell me shit. I mean, you could, but it was this. I got to stand up tall and be like, Ray, you figured it out. Yeah. You powered through. You got through, and then you got the job. Right. And then you got, like, now you're gonna have some kind of money coming in. Now you're gonna figure out, you know, there's gonna be
just
things,
next steps. Yeah.
Next steps. Like, we're good. We're good. And you're in New York. Like, we're out here. Like, so it was really dope. That just sparked the whole journey of being able to be on my own, do my own thing, and really be on my own. I was alone, like you had mentioned earlier. Like, I felt like I was alone a lot of my life, like doing my own kind of thing, figuring out life. But there were still people around. There were still, like, you know, I can call them like, hey, I really need your help. Can you help me? Like, if I had called people, that would have been a thing. But when I went out there, it was a whole different energy, because it was like, you know, I don't know anyone out here. So if something happens right now, there's not really much anybody can do about it. And that reality was hard, because I was like, I was ready for the new journey, but I was not ready for that feeling
Sure.
of like not feeling safe or not feeling like there's people around me. So I really had to trust in a higher power. I really had to trust. And I actually began my journey on spirituality or whatever, you know, just figuring out what I believe in, what my soul, what my core believes in, because I feel like it's all different things that you just learn and pick up and you just apply it into your, you know, way of life. So I remember I read this book called God in Human Form by Reza Allen, and that was I just kept being fed so much positivity and so much good energy of like, you're on the right path, you're learning the right things, you're inquiring about the right things, you're speaking up when you need to, you're giving yourself a chance when you need to. So it was a really amazing journey, and I ended up getting another job out there doing some like work, like office management work at like a real estate office. Crazy too. I met this guy out there. He was a realtor in there, and he was like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from LA," or I don't think I said LA. I think I said just California, like Southern California, because I was like I was very strict. I was very strict on that because I'm like, I'm from San Bernardino, yeah. So but I just didn't. I don't wasting time having the conversation sometimes is kind of like, so I believe I told him I was like, oh, I'm from like a part of California that's like, you know, a little close to LA or whatever, and right. He was just like, oh, where? And I was like, it's called San Bernardino, and he was like, oh, where? And I was like, do you know? I was like, I'm from San Bernardino, I just grew up there. And he's like, I went to Cal State San Bernardino. I was like, what are the odds? Like we were here, and he ended up knowing one of my homegirls, and like it was a whole thing. So it was like really cool, like just having those like little moments of time where I was like, wow, like this is so home. Yeah, exactly. So had that job for a little bit, and I had all my jobs are really dope. They were in really, really cool places, because my first job was on Wall Street at TJ Maxx, so that was cool. I mean, San Bernardino and then go to Wall Street, like that's kind of crazy. You see all these buildings, you're like, oh shit. And then I had the other job was in Harlem, so that was cool to kind of be right near Central Park and just kind of like have that. And then they had another office in downtown Brooklyn, so I got to go to that one too. And it was like they were reimagining the whole area. What year is this? This is 2017 to 2019.